to meet you. Thank you for taking time for me today.
You bet.
Yeah, but first of all, you look terrific. So let me just throw that out there. I'm sure you're getting that a lot. I'm sure you're getting that a lot today. So let me ask you this. Do you ever wonder what your life would have been like, had you eventually worked for National Geographic and pursued your love of butterflies?
I do think about it. I think I wouldn't look the same.
Yeah.
I'd have God knows maybe I'd have be wearing giant hats with frumpy clothes and out with my little pince nez with my butterfly net. I mean I don't know. But
Yeah.
I do think about it. I think it's fascinating to see but just to conceptualize how my life has changed so much, with the choices I've made.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So I want to cover a few of your work, then I want to hop into Uppercut, which I really enjoyed. Let me ask you this. Do you think a director matters? I mean, I know people say, well, sometimes some people can kind of get through a production, whether it's TV or film, and just kind of, regardless who the director is, do their thing. But in your case, you've had some pretty amazing directors, Ridley Scott being one, Rob Zemeckis being two, even Stephen Herrick, who's done some wonderful things. Do you think that those guys in particular, or other directors you've had, 6 Feet Under, you've done some wonderful things with, does it make a difference? I know people are like, duh, but no, I feel like that's a question that is strictly for
It's a
each
very
act.
good question. It's a
Yeah.
very good question, and it is crucial because I've a lot of times I've walked on a set and a director goes, "Oh my God, it's her. I can't talk to her. I can't, I got to stay back here in Video Village, and she knows too much." It's not
Right.
true. It is not true. I want to know a director's take on something because it could be an idea I never even thought of. So, I mean, I like interaction. I liked it when directors sat on a set and not back behind a video village. I really liked that. Because they could see everything, every little
Mm.
nuance, and they were able to watch everybody. You've got all these TV lenses going, and they sit back there with five different, things on it. Going, how can they see everything? So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So for those listening and fans of yours, Blade Runner, which was shot in 82, which seems like it was shot in 2022. It's just that, beautiful, which you've heard 1,000 times. One of the most iconic death scenes in the history of cinema. Could you tell me about those reshoots, Joanna? Because there's a lot of your fans. Were you brought in for those reshoots, or do they just use your likeness? How's that work?
No, what they I pushed. I pushed for years. I
Yeah.
want to do that so badly. So 25 years later, the a couple groups, the special effects group and Charles Lazarica set it up with Warner Brothers. They said, "Okay, all right, already, leave me alone." So they had a green screen. They had a almost like a boxing ring. They ran the piece for me up here. They made me up. I still had the costume. I just got into it, and everything that she did, I redid physically.
Ah, okay.
So basically, what they did was they used the upper part of me and put me in there, and it's perfect.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
never know that, and that was 25 years later, so it's pretty wild.
Yeah, yeah. She's running for her life, and she's running for her memories, and you made her so human. I mean, that scene, I mean, people still talk about that like it happened yesterday. I mean, that's how far your performance, I mean, impacted people. My God, I was watching it. I probably watched it, 20 more times knowing we were going to talk. I can't get over it. I could watch that scene over and over again. I mean, what you brought to Zora was unbelievable.
Thank you for that. I wish that we had had time to do the dance scene because that was the way Ridley had that uh, scripted and drawn out. And Sid Mead had made all these incredible drawings of a pyramid of sand, and my snake, it was my snake, Darling, was going to come around the corner. We were going to meet. We were going to touch, and then the sand was going to drop down underneath a platform, and then we were going to do the dance.
Hmm.
And I
Ugh,
actually I filmed the dance 9 years ago. It's on YouTube.
oh, okay. All right.
I,
Your rapport with Harrison had to be phenomenal, right? It had to be it looked like, I mean, at least on screen it certainly looked,
oh, I adored him. I
yeah.
adored him. And he was having a tough time. He was really having a rough time. But
Yeah.
Ridley wanted him to look bad by shooting a woman in the back, which was
I know.
he did. It was a horrible thing to shoot somebody in the back. But the take that I did, running across, it was a one take. I was loaded with squibs, and there were five cameras, and it was up to me. I pressed the button, did the thing, and it was one take. That was it.
Have you heard people talk? You mentioned those gunshots. Have you heard people's take on that? That it's almost like that's where her angel wings were, and they removed them, and that's what's left over of those gun. Like the way people have analyzed that scene, and I'm thinking on like that's an actual beautiful take on that scene. Like the
Yes.
gunshot, right?
Yep, it really is. I have heard that, and I think that's kind of extraordinary to equate it to that. Sort of like
Yeah,
find that amazing. But anything that I can do that's physical, and I still do it, which is why I loved doing uppercut, is because it got me
yes.
out and being physical again. And I just, there's nothing better for me. I love that. I don't have to think. I just do. I just
Yeah, yeah. For those that Uppercut is a wonderful movie. You play a legendary. Would you say physical therapist? Is that what you would say?
kind of
Is
physical therapist. What do they call them? Cutter in the corner.
yeah,
You
but
know.
like so much more. She's so much more than that. Like it's not just like okay, here's a physical therapist. She's like, I guess you could compare her to Mick from, but she's more than that too. Like how would you describe her to somebody who hasn't seen the trailer or the movie yet?
I think she's a life coach, basically. I mean, not even basically, but that's part of her repertoire is to come through to encourage people when they think they're losing or they have a moment of falling out of that gear. You have to stay in gear when you're physical and you have a physical accomplishment that you have to perform. You have to stay there, and there's always that handout, that you've got to give somebody to make them cut through their own bullshit, and
Yeah.
get through the crap. Get rid of it. Get it out of your head.
Have you had somebody in your life, Joanna, that's like that, that just cuts through the bullshit and says, "Hey,
No,
let's do
I
this."
I had someone in the beginning of my career. Her name was Joyce Selznick. She was part of the Selznick movie group family, and she unfortunately died too young. She left, and I lost that mentor. And I needed that. I needed a mentor, and I didn't have one. So whenever I go anywhere, I always try and be that to somebody because it's a hard business.
Yeah, it certainly is. Do you bring some of that into your role? Do you bring some of the, I mean, not your complete personal life, but do you bring some of that, what you know how important a mentor is? Do you bring some of that to this role?
To Rita,
Yes, to Rita,
yeah,
correct.
oh yeah, no, I definitely think so. And because I was working with Louie, who's a young actress, and I was just there for her. I certainly wasn't, trying to be her because she's a good actress. I didn't have to teach her anything, about acting, but what I was for her was a force that she could count on. And my philosophy is if you win, we all win. So I
That's right.
want everyone to win. I
Yeah,
want everyone to look good, be good, the whole deal.
if I were her and I knew you were working with me, I would be plugging your mind because you'd be, my mentor. I'd be like, tell me everything you know about acting. That's what I would be doing on a personal level. But I'll end with this. May we all have a friend like Rose Lindsay in our workplace, regardless of whoever is watching this interview, whatever they do for a living. Let's end with Rose Lindsay, who is maybe one of the coolest characters I've seen in a movie. Just talk about her. She just seems like a ton of fun, tells it like it is, super chill, right?
She was a ton of fun. I loved it. I loved my clothes. I loved my funny wig, and I put that on. All of a sudden, Rose comes through, and and because that is an iconic thing, and people are always, pardon me, coming up to me and saying, "I'm right on top of that, Rose. Can you? I'm right on top of that."
uh,
And they do. They ask me all the time, and I just go, "Wow, that's just amazing that that's hung on like it has. It's just so great."
Yeah,
So
you must be so much fun at Comic Cons. I tell you, fans would just love you. And you are an
I
abs
am fun at Comic Con.
yes.
I am. I am. Yep.
Joanna, you are a legend, and thank you for this time today. You are so wonderful. And Uppercut is a really fun movie. It's a really inspirational movie. And thank you for giving me some time today. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, my dear.